There's a reason you're here, and, well, it's the same reason the Prepper Historian channel exists, to dig up the forgotten, the overlooked, and the brutally practical lessons from the past that still apply today. Before we dive in, hit subscribe so you don't miss future deep dives into these hidden historical survival tactics. Now, let me hook you with this. During the Second World War, entire divisions fought in temperatures so cold that rifles froze, boots stiffened like boards, and honestly, flesh literally died within minutes. Frostbite wasn't just a medical issue. It was a military casualty statistic. Yet, in the middle of that misery, soldiers discovered a simple trick using nothing more than soap. Not high-tech ointments, not specialized gear, just soap. A trick so effective that field manuals quietly acknowledged it, officers whispered it to their men, and veterans kept it alive long after the war ended. You know, the brutal cold really forced soldiers to innovate with whatever they had on hand. It was a matter of survival, using scraps, improvising, making do, just to keep the cold at bay. When you strip away all the romanticism of winter warfare, what you're left with is a picture of raw human suffering. The Battle of the Bulge, the Eastern Front, the Chosin Reservoir. These weren't places you survived through strength alone, honestly. Frostbite, well, it ravaged armies by the thousands. In some units, frostbite cases actually outnumbered combat wounds. Gear was issued, of course, but extreme cold, it just laughs at gear. Gloves soaked through, boots leaked, and, well, circulation slowed in the trenches. That's when improvisation became even more important than equipment, and soldiers began turning to the oddest everyday items, including something every barracks had: hard bar soap. Soap isn't just for washing. When rubbed onto exposed skin or cracked leather gear and then allowed to dry, it creates a thin, wax-like film. That film repels moisture, stiffens slightly in the cold, and, you know, acts as a crude barrier against windburn and frostbite. For soldiers who couldn't afford wet gloves or chilled skin, this was honestly an unexpected lifesaver. Infantry on the Eastern Front used this trick frequently, rubbing bar soap across their cheekbones, noses and knuckles before patrols. The thin layer reduced evaporative cooling and helped block the icy wind that, you know, just sucked heat straight from the skin. It wasn't perfect, nothing was in those conditions, but it reduced the number of cold weather injuries enough that it spread informally through the ranks. Foot conditions were some of the worst hazards in freezing campaigns. Soldiers would rub a bar of soap along the seams of their boots, creating a water-resistant coating that helped keep melting snow from soaking inside. On wool gloves, they'd lightly drag a dry bar of soap across the surface. It made the wool slightly stiffer, yes, but also far more wind-resistant. Some machine gunners even rubbed soap into the underside of their trigger guards and grips because, well, skin can stick to frozen metal. A soaped surface formed a dull, grippy layer that prevented the kind of skin-tearing contact cold metal is notorious for. The military did hand out cold weather creams, but these tubes ran out fast, froze solid, or weren't distributed evenly. Soap, on the other hand, never ran out. Every soldier had it. Supply lines always carried it. You don't need to be fighting in the Ardennes to apply this. If you're a winter prepper, outdoorsman, or someone who lives where temperatures drop dangerously low, the World War II soap method is still surprisingly effective. If you're heading into sub-zero wind, rub a thin coat of dry bar soap across your cheekbones, nose, fingertips, and any area where windburn hits hardest. Let it sit for a minute. It will dry into a protective layer that reduces moisture loss and blocks wind. If your boots are starting to let in moisture, scrub bar soap into the seams, really grind it in, then wipe the excess. This creates a hydrophobic seal similar to old leatherproofing methods. The soap trick is more than a cold weather hack. It's a reminder that survival often comes from ordinary items used in extraordinary ways. WWII soldiers didn't rely solely on issued gear. They relied on adaptability. As modern preppers and historians, we study these stories not just to admire them, but to learn from them, to carry forward the hard-earned wisdom of men who fought the cold with whatever they had. The soap trick is one of those lessons that deserves to be preserved, practiced, and passed on. If you want more content like this, raw, practical, and historically grounded, make sure you subscribe to The Prepper Historian and share this guide so more people can learn the forgotten survival tactics that still matter today.